me. 3, 2, 1.
Right, hello guys, turning you back again. Well, Christmas has come early and the Analog Duo has finally been released and I picked up mine on Friday, it got delivered, so well happy with that. So I've had a chance to stream this. I streamed it for about 9 hours testing games and various other things, and I've played it not on stream as well, playing games and testing stuff. So I've got a good idea of all the weird quirks and whatever this machine is. So we're going to do a review. Just as a disclaimer, I was streaming on the weekend and I couldn't turn scan lines off, and I was having a problem with crappy looking scan lines. Um, yeah, it's me being stupid. I forgot to have my scanline generator connected to it because it's connected to my switch, and the scanline generator was on, which was causing havoc. So my fault. So forget what I said on the weekend if you watched any of my streams about scanlines. The scanlines do actually work. So we're gonna run through all the settings on this, and I'll show you a couple of different games from different formats to give you an idea what works. Like I'll play a Super Graphics game, a CD game, a arcade CD game, an American game, and a normal Japanese hue card. So the Analog Duo has been updated now, so you can get firmware 1.1b, um, which adds a few little features, but there's still features missing. So before we go into the game, I'll run you through some of the settings. So first, you basically got your library. So every time you chuck a game in here, as you can see, I've played quite a lot of games on here. Every time you chuck a game in here, it ends up in your library and it tells you how long you've played it for, date has played it, and stuff like that, which is quite a nice feature. Memories is your save state feature, which don't work at the moment, but Analog is saying it's going to come in a future firmware update. There's looking like a future firmware update will possibly come before the end of the year with Analog OS 2.0. As you may notice, if you have got a Pocket, this is the same front end as the Pocket, which they're planning on putting on all their consoles. So in controllers, I'm using an 8-bit Do PC Engine pad. Just to save you guys a lot of hassle, when you get the 8-bit Do PC Engine pad, it comes with a dongle. You put the dongle in the machine, pad works, but you won't get the home button, and then it'll do your head in trying to get the home button working. What you've got to do is you've got to go to the 8-bit Do site. You've got to download the Pocket Dock firmware for the pad. Then you basically plug the pad into your PC. To make sure the pad's off, you plug it in. I think you hold down select and press the home button, and it brings up as a drive on your PC. I think that's how you do it. Look it up just in case. And then you just dump the firmware on the pad, unplug it, turn the pad off, and it's done. What that will do then, the dongle will no longer work. It won't be compatible with like your Mister and things like that then. But you then have to sync it to the machine itself. So it syncs over 2.4 gigahertz. So you press the sync button on the side of the Duo, you hold down select on the pad for about 3 seconds, and it goes into sync mode, and then it syncs with the Duo. And then you can use it then to turn the Duo on or off and things like that. So that's one thing with the pads, it'll do your head in. But once you figure out what's going on, you can do that. You can use other pads, and it is compatible with a lot of other 8-bit Do pads and stuff. But it may be the same thing with those pads where you might have to flash them with the Pocket firmware to get full functionality out of the pads, which is a bit of a shame that you've got to do that, but you have to do the same with the Pocket Dock. What's confusing, it says Pocket Dock firmware, but that's what you need to put on these pads. You can sync 4 pads, and plus you could use one with a dongle or whatever, so you could have 5-player Bomberman or Dungeon Explorer or something like that. It does run various other pads, like you can put PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and a few others in it. If you use original PlayStation pad, the home button works. If you use a PlayStation joystick like the Hori Real Arcade Pro Kai, which is the one I've got, it all works, but the home button doesn't work. But down and select will give you the home button, which is a massive pain, so I spent ages trying to get that working. Also, I've got a joystick modded with a GP40, 2040 board in it, which does various consoles. And the same with that as well. Anything PlayStation, the home button doesn't work. So I don't know whether that requires a firmware upgrade, maybe an analog's part, or it's just a firmware upgrade on maybe the GP 2040 will fix it. I don't know. But if you put it in Xbox mode, it works. And you get the home button. So I'm going to say I'm just going to use the PlayStation, what's it, the Xbox. What the hell can I speak? I'm just going to use the 8-bit Do pad for now. Other settings you got video settings, you got analog OS, so basically the OS type you can choose which you want to boot up into. So you can boot up into the OS, Hue card or a CD. Time and date pretty much says what it says. The library option, you can turn on detailed library and then library browser. This is quite nice. You can go into it and pick every PC Engine game that's ever come out, and it'll tell you what company it's made from and give you a little bit of game details. Same with the CDs as well. So this should pick it up. You can see the publisher, you can go by year. So a nice little extra information, so you leave that on. I have found one or two games don't show up in the library, so maybe they got missed out, but probably a future firmware upgrade will fix that. About literally it just tells you what firmware you're on, what firmware fixes were done. Support gives you like a user guide and runs you through a tutorial of all the extra features. Like you can hold down the home button and push up for save states, which don't work at the moment, by the way. They're going to be coming in a future update. That's where the memories are. And you can down for the load state. You can hold down. I think you hold down run and press select is a basically takes a picture. But I don't know how to add them into my library to show up when I put a game in. According to Analogue's documentation, it just says put the pictures on the card or get community pictures. So it doesn't really explain where they go on the card and how they work and what format or anything like that. So it's little bit vague, unfortunately. Legal information is just illegal information. And a special thanks to the people involved in the project. So we'll go back from that. I say the memories part is what will show up when you've got save states. You can see the couple of screenshots I've taken. You will need a SD card, not a mini SD card, a standard size one to go in the back of this. That will then keep everything in your library. It records everything to the card, records all your save states and saves from CD games and various things like that. You don't need a big card for that, but I've got a 128 gig one in it because it was cheap, and it's probably going to get a jailbreak at some point where you can put your ROMs on there and you can put your CD images on there and they'll just boot. That's probably going to happen at some point, whenever that is. So, maybe get a decent sized card might be useful, or hold off on that and use an old one you've got hanging around the house or something for now. So that's pretty much the front end. So we'll get into a game. So we'll start with a Hue card. So this is a Japanese Hue card, which doesn't recognize that it's PC Kit for some reason, which it should do, especially PC Kit. It's quite a famous game. So we'll start it, and then we'll run through all the picture options and stuff. So there's your pretty much card. I didn't realize this until earlier. If you bonk there, and then you catch this, you get an extra life. I never knew that. That was total accident, that was. I came across that earlier. So, I'm going to pause it. As you can see, Bonk looks quite nice. No scan lines or anything like that, just standard filter. So, if I go into settings, and then I go into video, display modes. So, you basically get your standard analog TG16, which is no filters, nothing like that, and that's the display mode you get. You can change the size in it, so you can basically do a 3x, 4x, and a 5x, which is basically makes the picture bigger than the actual screen, so the overscan disappears behind the screen, like it would sort of on a CRT. I'm not a big fan of the 5x scales. I know a lot of people go on and saying they're amazing, but I'm not a fan of them because they work for some games, like in this game it works, no problems. But then if you play Neo Geo games or something else, or other games on you, it might cut off the score at the top, or it'll cut off part of the bottom. So I don't particularly like it. I particularly like a 4.5 scale, and together you return to default, and then you get your 4.5 scale, which that's what I prefer basically. You got your sharpness, which basically blurs the image or sharpens it. Simple enough. And then you got the overscan, so you can basically turn the overscan on, turn the overscan off. So basically, as you can see, your picture basically gets a bit more zoomed in and a bit zoomed out. So that's pretty much that. And this is the interesting one, color palettes. You've got the composite color palette, which is basically the one you can see there, nice colors. And then you have an RGB color palette, which I sort of prefer the RGB color palette, but it is a little bit garish, a little bit maybe a little bit too bright, the color palette. Um, So everyone's saying suggesting you use the composite palette, but I don't know, I do quite like the color palette on here, but it is a little bit too garish, or I mean a little bit too sort of colorful, if you know what I'm saying. So I'll go back. So I'll put it back on the composite color palette for now. And the other display mode, you got a Trinitron mode, which on the weekend I was saying that I couldn't get the scan lines working. That's because I was using my scan line generator was on the background and adding double scan lines in, which was freaking things out. So ignore me on that one. So there you get nice, lovely scan lines. And then if you do the overscan, then it zooms in with the nice scan lines. You can also change the color palettes, and you can also go this as well. So you got a fine aperture grill or grill, whatever they pronounce it. What that does, it gives you like a CRT look where you can see the pixels on the shadow mask on a CRT screen. You might not be able to see them on YouTube, but you can almost like it's like a pixel mode, which it looks pretty nice, I think. And you've got a fine aperture grill, which basically gives you scan lines, but the scan lines got little sort of gaps in between them. Especially if I go back and turn the overscan off, you can sort of see them a little bit better then. Yeah, so it gives you scan lines with a sort of, I don't know, it's a bit hard to tell, but it is there if you know what I'm saying. And then you can do a scan line only, which gives you that option. And then you can do hard edges, which is basically what you're seeing nice and sharp. Or you can do soft edges, just like a bilinear filter. Um, I don't particularly like that, but it's not too bad. And then you can do heavy scan lines, which gives you thick scan lines. The only problem with the scan lines on this, I would say, is they are a bit dark, and there's no like gamma filter to so you adjust just to compensate a little bit from the scan lines. That would be an option very nice to have in future, to be honest. Like, so hopefully they'll do that in future. I'll take the heavy ones off, but all in all, it's pretty good for what it is. It looks pretty nice. It's just it is a little bit dark. So what I'll probably end up doing myself is I'll use my scan line generator because you can compensate for the dark scan lines, and I'll probably end up just using the scan lines on that to be honest. But there's nothing wrong with what's on there. It's very nicely done. Could just do it being a little bit brighter. I noticed a couple of other reviewers mentioned how dark it looks, and there's no like compensation for it. But that's how it's set up. Um, so I can put the scan line back on, and now I'll cancel back after that. So you get the idea. So that's that one. And then if you go back into the modes again, then so display, then you got a Turbo Express mode, which tries to give you the LCD look of a Turbo Express. You're probably never going to use it because it doesn't look very good. And then you've got the LT mode, which does the same sort of thing. Like I said, you're probably not going to use it, I would say. So you can't do much with the overscan on these ones, as you can see. It doesn't particularly work particularly too well. But for that's the mode you get anyway. So basically, I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to turn the overscan off, and that's basically much what you get in here. Actually, put the overscan. You turn the overscan on, which turns the overscan off, if that makes any sense. So that's your video options, which are quite nice. Audio options. Apparently on the older firmware there was an option to adjust your left and right audio, which was slightly out, but that's been adjusted now. So all you get is hue card audio, because sometimes when you're playing games that need audio coming from the hue card on a CD, you might need that option, and you just got a volume. The other one you got is a region. This does auto-detect Japanese and US games. I've had no problems or any reason to change it from auto, but if you wanted to, you can do it. The EverDrive might be a reason to do it. I don't know. Super graphics. Super graphics on and off. What that is, on the super graphics, there's a switch on it which puts the machine in a super graphics mode or a standard PC Engine mode. There can be compatibility issues, like Space Harrier is one of them, that can cause problems in super graphics mode. So if you do get problems, you can actually turn that on or off if you've got it on. But it's in auto detect. I haven't come across any issues. Um, Auto detect on the CD, but these are the system cards. So you've got the CD-ROM, as that's what the two means. Super CD ROM, arcade ROM, or disable the CD. So basically, you can pick what system card you want, or just auto detect. Like I said, I have come across a problem, but pretty much all the games I've tried, bar one, all work fine, no problems. There's two games. There's Bonanza Brothers, which seems to work, but I don't know where it crashes. And there's Altered Beast. Altered Beast, you need system card 1.0 to work. Otherwise, you collect your power-ups, you get to the boss, and it just stalls and does nothing. I cannot get it to work on this. Even changing the system cards, and even putting the system 1.1 card into the machine, and then trying to run it, and it doesn't work. So I don't think the system card talks to the CD properly, or the other way round. So it just, for some reason, it just doesn't work. I can't get it working. So Alter Beast, if you've got it and you love it, you're probably gonna have to play the card version because the CD-ROM version doesn't work. But that's probably will end up being a fix in firmware. Your input as well, you've got auto input. So a game that uses 6 buttons, it will automatically change to 6 button mode. 8-bit don't need to make a 6 button PC Engine pad. Basically, they need to sort that out because some games require it, like Street Fighter 2. There's a couple of beat 'em ups and things require it. If you force it into 6 button mode and then you go back and play a 2 button game, the game will freak out like you've got autofire stuck on and autofire in every direction, and it goes mental. It does that on original hardware. I did think I had a problem on the weekend with Super Graphics by doing that, but then I realized it was because I had it in 6 button mode. So auto detect is probably where you're going to put it. The other problem I have come across when using a joystick, like a joystick that's set up to, say, PlayStation, it maps out 5 buttons, but you won't have a 6 button. And I think that is because most PlayStation joysticks are mapped out to your basic X, Y scale, your X circle, your square and triangle, and then it's R1 and R2 for the N2 buttons. But I think this one is R1 and L1. So you're going to run into a point where you're not going to have a button. So it would be nice if Analog added a button config where you can just change the buttons. That would be a nice option. Otherwise, you're going to have to change your stick to sort it out and use a dedicated one. You can also use original pads and converters and stuff like in this. They'll all work in original pads. So if you do want to do that, you can do, and you can put it in pass-through mode. So you have a special original controller menu, and that'll give you the hotkeys then, which are basically down and select. There is one problem I came across on the weekend. It wasn't me who found it. Someone mentioned it in my stream yesterday. That in with Fighting Street or Street Fighter 1, you can put a code in or something on the I didn't know you could do this on the title screen, and it allows you to do the special moves by pushing the direction and select. That doesn't work because if you start doing that, you'll start doing the menu commands. So that's probably a very, very special case that probably could be fixed with firmware, but it's a very, very special case that you're more likely you're probably not going to come across, but it is there just to let you know. So let's do some gameplay then. Oh, we need to run for this, sorry. HDMI modes, you got your 1080p, 720p, or 480p. Most people are just going to use 1080p, but the options are to change resolutions if you need it. Sync modes, you've got no buffer, so basically no delay. You've got fully buffered, which is 1 frame of delay, and then you've got a single buffer, which gives you like a half frame of delay. That's for compatibility with certain televisions, but it works fine on mine, so we're just leaving it there. Limited or full range RGB color. Uh, you would only really need to change it to limited if your screen didn't support full range, but the option's there if you get problems and you can't get your screen coming on properly. Headphones, so if you've got a low or high impedance headphones, you can turn the high impedance on, so that's a good option to have. You can eject the CD from here, which is just ejected the CD, which is quite nice. That's the first time I've actually tried that from there. And a global, and then you've got a global reset. So you've seen the library one now and you've seen the about. So that's pretty much everything in the menus what you can do. So we are just going to resume the game and we're going to play a little bit of this. So This plays fantastic, to be honest. Screen looks really good, plays fantastic. I do wish it was a little bit brighter with the scan lines on, but all in all, it works brilliant. Basically, like all analog consoles, they're all very well made, and they all just work basically. I did have, like I said, I did have a few problems with the scan lines, but I didn't realize I had my scan line generator on, and that's what was causing me problems. And I did mess around probably for about half hour trying to get this pad working properly, until I realised then you've got to put the firmware on it. So they're basically going to be your issues out of the box, which you know about now basically. So as you can see, it plays Japanese hue cards, no problems. But for some reason, it doesn't recognise this as PC Kid or Bonk if you're from the US. It doesn't recognise it for some reason. I don't know why, because it's like a super famous game on the console. Gives you invincibility. This is quite a fun platform as well. I always like the Bonk games. Part 2 is probably the best one. I'll have to pick myself up part 3 at some point. So, now we've gone through that, you go back and quit the game. You can probably pull the game out and it'll quit it, but I'm not really going to try it. The other thing to mention as well, this thing has got a damn good grip on these cartridges. Not too crazy, mind, but when you push a cartridge in, I don't know if you can hear it. It's like a bit of a click when they go in, and then the cartridge comes up. This is an American game. As you can see, it's automatically picked it up. And this time, because it's picked the game up, it's given me information on it. I would like to get the images on there. I need to figure out how to do that, because that would be quite nice. So you got Dragon Spirits. One thing came up in another review about these PC Engine pads is the autofire on them is not as fast as the original autofire. So in maybe certain games, it won't be able to fire as fast as you normally would be able to. Like Legendary Axe was one that a lot of people said that you can't knock the boulder back, so you can't fire fast enough. Maybe 8-bit Do will sort that out eventually and add a slightly faster autofire, but it may be something to do with a 2.4 gigahertz signal. I'm not sure. That's what some people have suggested. Whether that's true, I don't know. But like I say, these games play perfect. Look lovely. Everything scrolls nice. It's all nice 60 hertz. Just what you would expect, really. So as you can see, this all works great. It's a nice game this as well. This is another good shoot 'em up. The second one is really good. It's even better. The only problem in this game though is your dragon's massive. That's the one downfall. Especially when you get the 3 heads on the dragon. It's like flying around in a bloody giant square. So as you can see, that works. So that's an American game. So that's your HuCard games. And so we'll go on to CD games. So I've got since it's in there. We're going to play an arcade card CD game. And I've only got a few arcade card CD games, but every one I've tried just works. This is World Heroes 2, which is a Neo Geo conversion. Surprising how good these conversions are. They're very, very good indeed. It is loading in. The arcade card's got more memory, so they do take a little bit to load in for the memory. So let's start this up. Yeah, these Neo Geo conversions are super impressive. I had a Neo Geo back in the day, and if I'd had this on the PC Engine, I would have been quite happy. They're not as good as the Neo Geo versions, but they're pretty damn good considering they're on an 8-bit machine. It's very impressive indeed. Even to the point it's got the line scrolling floor on some levels as well. So I say he's probably the best character. I mean, the football guy. I see a lot. They still play this in competition, and he's destroying basically. He's got a floor side option and a really quick punch, so you can slide in, quick punch people, and just get them all time. Say super impressive conversions. Get the old combo going. On this one, it's the harder, well, not the harder, but the longer you hold on the button, the sort of you get a hard kick or a light kick, which you would think would be terrible, but it actually works surprisingly well, even to do combos. It was a system that used to have 2 buttons, because the original World Heroes had 3 buttons. This one's got 3. It's basically, it was just a grab and then punch and kick, and then you hold down for hard, tap quick for the weak. As you can see, the arcade cards work perfectly well. I've tried all the ones I've got, and they all work fine. With the CD drive as well, this one's got the line scrolling floor as well, which is really nice. With the CD games as well, this thing will play, I've tried everything from burnt CDs to repros from PC Engine Works to new games like FX Yuki and Cleopatra's Curse, and they all work fine. No problems at all. I haven't had one CD that doesn't work. In Taxtel, I got 2 Altered Beast discs, and my 1 Altered Beast disc is pretty scratched pretty badly, and that don't work, which is not surprising, to be honest. I don't think it works in my, I should chuck it away really. Or get it cleaned. It has got some pretty bad scratches though. Could probably fix it though if I had a cleaning machine. Those ones it takes the sort of layer off. I should take it up to game one day and get them to chuck it through the bloody cleaner. In fact, I might do that next time I'm out of town. Charging me £1 or whatever to do it. It'd be worth it if it was working again. So there's the arcade CD games. As you can see, they work perfectly fine. So we'll swap to a different type of CD game. So I'm going to quick game. And I'm going to use the button on the front to eject the disc this time. Another thing to say about this console, when you put the CD in, you've really got to push it in. It's got like a brush or something on it that takes all the dust off the disc, so they make sure there's no dust in the drive. So you've really got to push it in a bit, and then it grips it right at the end. The only problem with that is that it's the same when getting the CD out. It doesn't push the CD out very far, so you've got to catch the edge of the CDs to pull it out. Sometimes if you're lucky, you can get it'll go just over the circle in the middle. I say the normal CD-ROM games as well work fine on here, no problems. Give me Thunder, but loads of Thunder. This is an American CD this time. Like the arcade card was the Japanese one. There's no copy protection on the CDs anyway. You can, like I say, you can just go online, download them, or copy your originals and play them in here, no problem still. There never was any copy protection. This is a fantastic shoot-up. This is my favourite shoot-up on the PC Engine, actually. I did hear one of the guys in my stream last night was saying Crest of the Wolf he was playing, and he had towards the end of the game he was getting some weird graphical issues. It didn't affect playing the game, and it was still you could still complete it. But he said he was getting some graphic issues, so maybe that's something that needs to be patched in a bit of firmware later as well. I'm assuming we're going to get firmware quite often on this, especially coming leading up to Christmas. Like I say, it's already been updated anyway. And there's an Analogue are promising Analogue OS, which is what is on here in the Pocket. It's pretty much the same. 2.0 by the end of the year. So hopefully that will come out and this will be updated to 2.0. The Pocket is just at 2.2 in preparation for it. So hopefully they're on course and this will get 2.0. But I think the original firmware on here was probably obviously because machines had to go out to be made and flashed with the firmware. It was an older firmware. And they updated it pretty quick. Like I said, someone's probably going to have, you probably get the jailbreak firmware at some point as well. Probably within the next month, I reckon. That'll be out and you can basically play copies on here. I didn't buy it to play copies on here, to be honest, because I've got like loads of originals and loads of original games. I bought it to play my original games. Give you a tip on this game, guys. The best armor on this game is the Earth armor, the one that doesn't look very impressive with the 2 bombs. Power that sucker up and it destroys things. It is the best armor in the game. It's probably the worst armor at low power. Swings and roundabouts, if you know what I'm saying. If you want to be able to beat this pretty easily, just use that armor. You do have bombs in this as well. Different bombs for different armors. See, this is a really, really good shoot 'em up. Maybe seen people who did Gates of Thunder, Red Company basically. They made quite a lot of games. They made the Bonk games as well. Or the PC Kid games, whatever you want to call them. I was known as PC Kid. I would have destroyed that guy well before that if I'd had the bombs. So, as you can see, normal CDs work fine. No problems at all. Like I said, it's only the one game I've had issues with. So we'll quit that. And then this time I'll take the card game out today and we'll put in a Super Graphics game. All my Super Graphics games work. I've got 4 of them out of the 5. I don't have 1941, which I would love to have, but I ain't going to pay like the 600 quid it costs to buy it. It definitely ain't worth spending that much money on it. I was in Tokyo once and I was tempted to buy it, but then I thought it was silly. Which is probably a good thing, because it was pretty silly. Super Graphics work fine as well. Boot straight up, don't have to change anything, just leave everything on auto, job done, and it just works. I say all those issues, if you had watched some of my live streams on the weekend, all those issues I had with the screen and the scan lines was just because of my scan line generator I've worked out, so yeah, I was being pretty silly biscuit. See, this is a rather nice conversion of the arcade. This is better than the Mega Drive one. Far more detail and stuff. Not saying the Mega Drive was bad, mind, but... And I would say probably the Mega Drive one does have slightly better sound though. The only caveat with this version is it is actually harder than the arcade one. It's the difficulty level is slightly harder than the arcade set. So there is a secret menu on here where you can change settings. So basically what you want to do on this is you want to change it and then just put it down 1. I think it goes down to like easy 1 or something like that. And you just put it down to there and you're pretty much on arcade difficulty then. Or just play it on this difficulty and get used to it. Okay, mate. You don't have the sort of moving trees and stuff on the Mega Drive version. I know they're essentially just moving two sprites from, but it looks good. It does the job. I say you will notice how much harder this is than the Mega Drive one. Out of the box. Normally an armor, but if you do that. Or weapon, depending on your chest. Or that guy. Yeah, get him to jump, that's the way you're doing it. Then, nice. So these 8-bit dough pads work pretty well. Nice to have a little wireless pad when you can't be asked getting a joystick out or whatever. Get the key, get magic armor. Whee! So I'll show you while we're here. I'll change the color palette. Like I don't mind the composite palette, but I do prefer the other palette. I'll pause it because then I'll end up getting killed otherwise if I don't. So if we go settings, do system video, and then we go color palette, and then change it, you can see the difference it makes in the background. You can even see the lightning in the background much better on the left as soon as I change it. So I prefer this color palette, to be honest. Even though that there is one or two games you can't see radiance in the sky don't quite work properly. But Yeah, I definitely prefer the this color palette. Even though it would be nice to have an option just to tweak it a little bit. Maybe just turn the vibrancy down a tad. But I'm probably just going to leave it in this mood, even though that it is a little bit too bright. Hopefully they'll tweak it a little bit, or like I said, give you the option to tweak it. So I'm gonna leave that there, and then we'll go back to the menu and quit the game. So yeah, the PC Engine Duo, guys. Like I said in my opening, it feels very nice, very nice quality. It's well made, as all the analog consoles are. To be honest, I've owned like the Mega SD, the SG, sorry, the Super NT, the Pocket I've got, and I've got this. Unfortunately, I had to sell the other two consoles when I had cataracts and I had to bloody pay for it to get rid of them. So unfortunately, I got rid of them, which I wish I kept them, but there you go. You know, can't use them if I can't see them, can I? There is that, like. So yeah, really nice console. I really like it. Like I say, I did have the problems with the pad, which I first had when I couldn't get it working properly. But at least you know now that easy enough. You got to flash it with that firmware, and you're good to go. Basically, sync it to the machine. Happy days. I had problems obviously getting the when I was using my joysticks. I couldn't get the home button working, but at least I know now I'm using the other stick and I'm just switch it to Xbox and it works. But the original pads work fine. I've tried original pads on you and they all work fine. It is compatible with lots of other pads and everything. So you should be able to use various pads in there. Just to try them out, basically. A lot of the 8-bit dough pads will work, but I'm not sure whether you've got to flash them with that firmware for the dock. You probably have, so they become useless in anything else. Which is a little bit of a shame because it would be nice to have them working everywhere. Maybe 8-bit dough can get the dongles working with the home button. Who knows? Um, yeah, so picture quality is really good. The scan lines and everything look really nice on here, and like I said, that problem on the weekend, but it was because of the scan line converter, as I found out. So all the scan lines work. You get that defaulted sort of 5.5x scale, which I don't particularly like, but at least you can adjust it and take it off. In fact, you can go into the menus. If I start Daimakamura up again, you can go into the menus, which I forgot to pop in. If you go into video and then you go into if you go into video mode and then go to size, you can resize it yourself to whatever size you want. You might get issues with scan lines or whatever at the time, but you can literally resize it to whatever sort of size you want. So you could probably play it the original size, the old postage stamp, which is probably up over there. So you could probably play it like that, but we'll take it back to default. So that's quite a nice feature you can do as well. So you can swap and change and adjust it. Apparently this doesn't work with the analog DAC. Apparently it doesn't work with that at the moment, but that's going to be added in firmware. So that'll be handy if you want to put it on the CRT, which sort of defies the point of buying an HDMI console really, but there you go. Um, yeah, so overall, I'm really impressed with it. I'm really happy with it, and I'm glad I picked it up. I can't resist a PC Engine anyway, so that's me for you. But I am definitely glad I picked it up. It's nice that I had it before Christmas. On that side, guys, a lot of people I'm hearing are waiting for confirmation for Analog for it sent out because Analog was saying if you ordered it up, I think it was up to like the middle of I think it was up to like December or something. They were saying they would get delivered by Christmas. Well, unfortunately, one of the guys I know who ordered in mid November, who's been waiting for his to go out because when he ordered it, it said it'd go out before Christmas. I had an email today to say that his is getting delivered in March now. Sorry, in February. So either Analog have sold way more than I thought, or they're having problems getting them out. But it looks like the one that ordered the late versions of machines. So anything, he said they sent an email something before the 2nd of November. So if you basically have ordered it after the 2nd of November, you're probably not going to get it till February now, which is a little bit of a shame. It is what it is. But Analog did promise you would get it before Christmas, but obviously something's come up and it's caused problems. So it is what it is. February isn't too far away, luckily enough, so you aren't going to wait too much longer. But it is a bit of a shame if you were really expecting it. So there's that one, guys, unfortunately. Um, who is this console for? I would say that this console is literally for people with lots of PC Engine games to play your originals on. That's what it's meant for. That's what it's meant to done. And if you're buying it, that's probably what you're buying it for. You could put an EverDrive in here. Apparently they work. I didn't try mine because they're in the cupboard, but they do work. Um, but really, you're going to need PC Engine games to play on this. I got loads of PC Engine games. I got like 280 of them, I think. So, I bought it primarily to use my original games. There probably will be a jailbreak for this, and you'll get to pay copies on it. That's probably guaranteed. That's going to happen. But when that happens, who knows? Um, so if you are thinking of buying this and you haven't got no PC Engine games and you're buying it for the jailbreak, you might be better holding off for five because who knows if it's going to happen. That's just an if. You know, it might not happen. And if it doesn't happen, you're stuck with a machine. You're not going to be able to play any games on it. So it's really meant for someone who's got lots of PC Engine games, or somebody who's really into PC Engine games. You want to start buying PC Engine games. Unfortunately, if you really want to buy a PC Engine collection now, it's going to cost you. PC Engine games have got ridiculously expensive, and the really good ones are now so high in price that even I won't buy them. They're crazy in price. So, and the prices are going up. But there still are deals there to get, mind. There still are plenty of games that are reasonably cheap. And you could build up a decent collection of games for less than 30 quid each and just buy games every now and then. So, there are deals out there. You can get them. Not everything's expensive, but a lot of the good games are. So it is really meant for somebody who basically owns PC Engine games. Um, but would I buy this console? Definitely. I've bought it and I'm happy with it. I knew it was going to be pretty good, to be honest. I've never had anything from Analog that wasn't. Uh, it just needs a few little firmware updates to fix a few little things, which is nothing major. It's just little niggly things that it's probably going to get fixed with firmware that's coming up anyway. So yeah, the Analog Duo definitely gets a thumbs up and definitely gets a recommendation. If you're thinking of buying one and you've got PC Engine games and you want something to play on a HDMI TV, go ahead, pick one up. You're going to really enjoy it. It's pretty nice, and by the time you pick one up now, it'll probably have like a couple of firmware updates and everything will be sorted and fixed, and probably add a few extra features or whatever. Um, but yeah, if you're only going to play ROMs on this thing, I would wait to see if a jailbreak comes out and then put an order in for one, but it'll probably happen, I expect. I expect. Say that now, it'll probably never happen, but it probably will. You're probably going to get a jailbreak on it. So go. That's the way it goes. So yep, highly recommend it, guys. I am glad I bought it, and it's a quite nice little Christmas present to myself. And hope you enjoyed the review, and I shall catch you soon. Bye now.